The Polymega N64 Module Element Module EM05 Ultra Element Module set is finally here, and I am exceptionally excited about this one. The Polymega team has said they've achieved 98% game compatibility with the N64 library for this module release, and I'm very anxious to take that to the test, as I do have a near-complete N64 library for North America. But in their release announcement, they've also said that this element module is compatible with transfer packs, which we will be putting to the absolute test, and I'm curious about Rumble and controller pack support as well. And of course, since it has official controller ports, we'll be testing it with original controllers and the wireless Retrobit Tribute 64. Actually comes with its own customized Tribute 64 in the box in a partnership with Retrobit, so that's pretty fun. But let's go ahead and unbox this guy. Alright, but first up, a look at the outside. So we've got the Polymega base unit, an element module all glossy, along with the controller and cord. Really like the look of it. Polymega element module set EM05, Ultra element module set, wow. Compatible with original N64 games, controllers, Polymega base unit not included. Bottom, we've got some copyright and warning stuff. The side gives us another glossy depiction of it all. Top Polymega. And then the other side is that wonderful side view of it. I like that view. That's actually how I have them stored on my shelf for the element modules. And now for the back. Ultra Gaming is here. Compatible with N64 game cartridges and controllers. Ultra Element Module set EM05 hits you with a next generation Ultra combo to the face. Your jaw won't mind. For an authentic experience, a bonus Polymega Ultra controller is included. So compatible with N64 game cartridges. Just plug Element Module EM05 into base unit and enjoy region-free compatibility with classic N64 game cartridges using a patent-pending modular system. Premium wired controller included. Element module set includes a premium wired retro controller with 8-foot braided cord and exclusive home button for accessing Polymega system functionality at the press of a button. Digitize your game collection. Play hassle and worry-free with a convenient installation feature enabling you to make a personal digital backup of your cartridge games to an eye-catching user interface. And ultra-low latency controller ports. Take your game to the next level with ultra-low latency controller ports built right into the front of the module. Play with friends using a combination of the module and console controller ports. Included in the box, Ultra EM05 N64 Ultra Retro Controller RC05 1-year limited warranty. Nice. Anyway, I'm excited. So the box is the same form factor as all the other Polymega element modules, so it will fit nicely, even though it's been a couple years since those ones officially released. Now to get the top off. There we go. Yeah! Alright, so that's fun. We see the analog stick just kind of getting its own little protrusion right here. But there we have it. So, starting with the controller, this is cool. So again, it is a customized Retrobit Tribute 64, one of the wired variants, so it has the original expansion port in here for Rumble, controller, and transfer packs. Like the extra texturing down here to give it that Polymega feel. Buttons are clearly labeled. And then we have start and select that we see on the wireless Tribute up here, so that's pretty cool that they're able to integrate that into the Polymega system. What's interesting, though, is that the start button is the Polymega home button now, and so then we have a dedicated start button just above that. That's a little interesting, but whatever. We'll give it a try, see what we think. But yeah, this looks really nice. It's got the wireless handles over the original wired Tribute's less comfortable grip model, so this will be nice. So yeah, if you've held a wireless Tribute 64, you know exactly what this feels like so far. But braided cord's nice. And we got original port here, so this should be compatible with real N64s as well, so that'll be fun to try out. And now, as for the element module itself, ooh, that is a bit more hefty than most of them. That's nice. So EM05 Ultra, we got our 4 controller ports up there. They don't protrude as much as like the Super Nintendo module does, so that's nice. They feel pretty firm in there. And then we have our cartridge gate here, so Yeah, it feels a lot nicer than the Super Nintendo module as well. So, no region locking for the cartridges. So cool. And then, of course, just plug it in the Polymega right there. Element Module EM05. Very cool. But now just a quick little accessory test here. So, my battery modded N64 rumble pack here. So we can see that it doesn't have a death grip on it. So that's nice. Didn't expect it to, since it's a Tribute 64, but always good to be careful. And then my Forever pack here. Same deal, just goes right in and out. Nice. And it will be curious to see if transfer packs actually do work on this controller with the Polymega, because transfer packs really only work reliably on official controllers. So, like I said, we're going to give it a try right now and see what happens. Let's dive in. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and start off by getting the module plugged into the system itself here. So there we go. I have a cord in the way there. There we go. So, attaches in just like any other element module. Controller port has a decent grip on it, so not bad. Now, one thing I did notice is that the cartridge port does have a bit more of a death grip on it than I would like. It's a bit firm, but since I only plan on using these cartridges in the system one time and just installing them, I'm not overly concerned by it, but definitely something to make note of. Alright, so we actually had to wait 2 days before we could try out the N64 module because the firmware update for Polymega was not yet available. So now here we are. Let's try out Star Fox 64, finally. Anyway, it's we have the normal options of installing it and adding it to the collection. I'm going to try running it from the cart real quick. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll just go ahead and install it. Screw it. Alright, add that to our M.2 drive. Alright, there we go. Alright, anyway, now we'll go ahead and play it, see what this looks and feels like. We've got a rumble pack inserted into the included controller. It picked it up on the main menu as a rumble pack, which is pretty cool. Alright, so I will say that these look like unfiltered graphics at the moment. We'll see what it looks like when we get into actual gameplay. Yes, that's looking unfiltered. Whatever. Not the biggest tilt. Actually, we can... What do I have my virtual display set as? So we're in 720p HD. Alright. Looking a little bit better at 1080p 4x3. Let's go with that for now. Actually, cool. Alright. Alright, let's see what this looks like. A couple of graphical hiccups on screen transition, whatever. Not a big deal breaker in my opinion. So unfortunately, no save transfer from the cart. This would be a 100% game save, but whatever. Alright, so it's actually looking a lot better once we get into the game. That's good. So we've got, once again, native resolution emulation on the system that is being run through the module, like we saw with all the other Polymega element modules, and emulation, which makes me happy. Feels like I am using a Tribute 64 on Star Fox on real hardware. Like, this is not bad, gameplay-wise. Like, latency is really good. Like, this is feeling pretty solid so far. Just a couple little graphical hiccups between the screen transition, so nothing absolutely deal-breaking. This is a way to play your N64 games on a modern display. Not bad. We'll have to dive into some harder to emulate games in a minute here. So yeah, Star Fox 64 is making a pretty decent first impression here.
Pretty smooth flying,
Oh, one thing I just realized, though, is that the rumble pack is not actually rumbling. How interesting. There must be a setting in the system for that. So, let's see here, console. Yeah, here we go. Oh, cool. So we have options for rumble pack, controller pack, transfer pack, and expansion pack. So let's turn on the rumble pack. This game doesn't use the expansion pack, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's cool. All right, now let's check the rumble feature. So I have my battery modded original OEM controller or rumble pack in the controller slot at the moment, and yeah, it is working 100%. That is cool. Let's give you all a quick little sound demo on the mic here, so you can appreciate the gloriousness of rumble. So yeah, very cool. Alright, let's move on to a different game. Alright, so I went ahead and got Super Mario 64 and Star Wars Rogue Squadron installed, and I also changed the controller over to the wireless Tribute 64 V2 from Retrobit. So now we are playing wirelessly through the Element module, and everything appears to be in perfect working order so far. Whoops, not that. What are you doing? Anyway, let's check out Mario 64. Alright, so here we are, Mario 64. And yeah, not bad, not bad. Alright, let's look at some of the filtering options we have, though, with Polymega's built-in stuff. So, yeah, if you're playing it at the full 4x3 zoomed, it's definitely showing a bit more of the rough edges. So, definitely prefer integer scale on this one for myself. Ooh, the curvature one definitely makes it a bit rougher. So RGB plus blur, that's honestly a more authentic N64 experience right there. 720p is not as happy. RGB plus blur at 720p ain't bad still, so that's pretty authentic to N64 as well. Let's go ahead and I'm going to make this the system default for now. Might not come through on the YouTube video as well, but it's a lot nicer to look at and play, at least from this screenshot. Yeah, so there we go. That's a lot more authentic. Okay, that makes me happy. Alright, so Bob-omb Battlefield looking as good as it ever did in 1996. Not bad. So playing this with the wireless Tribute 64 is feeling pretty authentic to actual console. I'll need to load up Goldeneye and check the diagonals on these controllers in a minute. Since it is using emulation, it might help overcompensate for the diagonals on this particular wireless controller, and then I'm curious to see how it handles on the packed-in controller. But so far, pretty happy with this. Gotta say, like, N64's tough, and it's hitting pretty good right now. Alright, here we are, Star Wars Rogue Squadron. So, came in, made sure the expansion pack's turned on the rumble pack, and then the display's set at just standard 1080 4x3 zoom at the moment. And I gotta say, this one is feeling really rough with its Bob deinterlacing. A lot rougher than it looks on a lot of contemporary devices, unfortunately. So, if you're not used to Bob deinterlacing, it's just very bouncy. Very, very, very bouncy. But, yeah. And for anyone who was following me on Twitter, I recorded this footage on the first day that the system update went live, and I was very confused by why it looked the way it did. And this is where I was actually pretty disappointed with this Element module to begin with, because it looks like it is half resolution for 480i content. That combined with the Bob deinterlacing just made it look really crummy. And so, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just blasted it on Twitter. That's when we learned there are per-game patches that applied to each game before launching them, and apparently for me and Rogue Squadron it just wasn't jiving yet. And so I shut the system off, feeling very disappointed and sad about it. But when I came back to it the next day, it looked something like this, which is a lot more representative of what it should look like. And I apologize to the Polymega social guy for kind of giving him a hard time about it, but Rogue Squadron is one of the more difficult games to emulate on N64, so as you can see in here, there is some stuttering that happens on occasion. So yeah, there we go. There's a good example of the stuttering that happens. So, kind of gives us the theoretical limits of what the Polymega is capable of when it comes to N64 emulation. That's why I chose this game. It's very demanding. Battle for Naboo will be much worse. So we'll have to give that one a shot here in a minute and see if it works. Or see how it works, if it even loads up. Again, they only promised compatibility to about 98% of the game's library, so I imagine Hey You Pikachu and Battle for Naboo are a couple of those games that are omitted. Alright, so here we are in Goldeneye. Got this one loaded up. I just wanted to test those diagonal ranges on the wireless tribute and then the Polymega version of the tribute that's included in the box. So here we are first with the wireless tribute, since that's what I had plugged in. And it's behaving just like on real hardware. So we have no proper diagonal movements on the absolute diagonals. So this is 100% behaving like real hardware with these controller port modules with this controller. So cool to see, but unfortunately that the diagonals on this controller didn't quite hit the max values they needed to. Oh well. Alright, let's go ahead and try it with the packed-in controller. Alright, so here we are with the packed-in controller. And we have partial correct diagonal movements. Hey, there we go. Down and right is almost perfect. Alright, so unfortunately the diagonals aren't hitting the ranges they need to, so it's a Tribute 64 stick. So if we just kind of have to compensate with more up and side movements for our diagonals instead. And for anyone curious about what that's supposed to look like, here is the OEM N64 controller plugged into the Polymega now. And, what? Huh. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so I chose my OEM stick that's not in good shape. Got it. But as you can see, you're supposed to be able to do these complete diagonal turns. It moves the camera along with it, and you spin. And so, there we go. And when you hit them, there we go. Alright, so I just happened to choose my N64 controller that had a bad stick, so there we go. That's what it's supposed to look like. Not bad. Glad that we actually get that movement and range representation out of it like real hardware. Alright, now for a little bit of fun, let's hook up two controllers to this. So two OEM controllers. And let's go over here. Oh, that's right. Hold on, we gotta reset the game real quick. Alright. So there we go. 2 controllers registered in the game. And let's go play. So, yep, there we go. Controller 2, controller 1. Alright, dual analog controls, let's go. Yeah, that's weird. I'm not used to playing this game in dual analog. Whatever. It's fun that it's possible, just like on real hardware. Alright, now for something a little tricky again. A game with constant resolution switching. Resident Evil 2 with expansion pack enabled. And let's see how it handles it. Oh, I need to stop using the thumbstick on this controller. Alright, so, not bad. It's changing resolutions quickly, and there's not a lot of graphical artifacting between the screens, so that is not bad at all.
Freeze! Who are you? What are you doing here?
Don't shoot! I'm a human!
Not bad. Now the time has come to test out controller packs. First thing I'm going to do is enable this. Okay, very cool. So, you're able to copy things directly from your controller pack on the controller and then copy them to the controller. So it doesn't pull from the controller dynamically. I think that's probably a smart decision. Now let's go ahead and see what's on here. So we have an Armyman Sarges hero save. That's... oh, okay, that's fine. I was kind of hoping it'd be Tony Hawk, but that's fine. We'll switch over to Armyman then. Okay, so here we are, Armyman Sarges Heroes. Got that controller pack inserted. Let's see where my save for this one's at. Apparently on the first level. But hey, it's got all my settings saved. Look at that. We are in the game's letterbox widescreen mode. Like, cool. Alright. I apparently have custom controls enabled because none of the defaults are actually working right. Oh no, what was I thinking with these controls? Ooh, that's bad. So yeah, this game had letterboxed widescreen, which is really kind of cool to mess with. Alright, now let's go ahead and try out the transfer pack compatibility. So, nothing by default, but I don't think I have any of the settings enabled in the menu real quick. But just to show that the transfer pack is being detected here, let's go ahead and turn that on. Alright, console, so transfer pack. Alright, so we can install games to the Polymega from the transfer pack. So press start, identifying, do not remove transfer pack. Pokemon Red version, there it is. And this is going through the pack and controller, so the Retrobit custom tribute that they have here is working on Polymega with expansion, or transfer packs. Alright, so not the quickest process, but that's to be expected. If you've ever dumped a Game Boy game with the friggin' transfer pack, it's slow. Oh, look at that. It even pulls the save data from the card. That's nice. I wonder why the rest of the Polymega system doesn't do that. Alright, there we go. So my Pokemon Red save is now copied over, so that's cool. But honestly, now I am curious as to if you can install other Game Boy games on here. I mean, there's no way to really access them yet, but just for curiosity's sake. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this again. Press start to install transfer pack game. So I actually put in Gelatinous Humanity, Humanity Lost, which is a Retro Room game release that I just happen to have next to my desk. So, alright, so Homebrew releases might not be a thing, but that's okay. Alright, let's try this again. This time I put in Link's Awakening DX. Let's see if it can figure out this game and try to install it. Isn't quite looking like it, but I mean, it's kind of whatever. Whatever. No big loss. But anyway, let's go ahead and try this out. Alright, so there we go. It sees the Pokemon Red game and save that we transferred over from the Game Boy cartridge. Curious how the Game Boy Tower will run, to be honest. Something happened to that Mew over there. So, for anyone unfamiliar with my channel, we turned our copy of Pokemon Red into a Mew distribution cart from, like, Toys R Us. And that's what the save it's able to pick up. So, it's not able to run the Game Boy Tower. I'm honestly not that surprised. Pretty demanding to run the Game Boy Tower emulation within N64 emulation. There's a few PC emulators that can do it, but for the most part, you're honestly just kind of limited to just managing your team in like the lab here and then registering teams for the Coliseum itself. So yeah, this game has 10 boxes full of nothing but Mews. But yeah, not surprised to see that the Game Boy Tower doesn't work as expected. It does give it the unfortunate thing that if you want to like manage any of your party, you have to do it on another Game Boy and then transfer the whole game and save back over. I don't think I saw anything about just transferring over save files, but oh well. It is what it is. Alright, here we go. So, Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo. This is the one I've been curious about, and it actually was not reading the cartridge as Battle for Naboo for a long time. But this time it did, so hopefully... Yes, good. Alright, so it requires 33 megabytes. Okay, so it actually read the cartridge correctly today. When I was doing some initial testing yesterday, it was reading it as a 7 megabyte game, so it was not correct. But again, what a difference a day seems to have made. So, let's give this one a shot and see how bad the fountain tanks everything. Alright, here we go. Let's see how this handles. So, the particle effects on this game are some of the most demanding things in N64 emulation. But let's go ahead and see. Just gotta get past this courtyard right here with the droideka. Alright. Don't be a little troll. There we go. Alright, so there we go. Had a bit of a stutter there, whatever. Alright, let's check out the fountain. Oh? 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 Happy times. Happy times. Look at that. So, not bad. I guess Battle for Naboo will not be one of those games within the 98%, or... I guess Battle for Naboo will not be one of the incompatible games So, still some micro stutters here and there, but completely passable. Honestly, I did not expect this game to run. This is pretty cool. Okay, so the last thing I want to test is Homebrew releases here. So I have Big to Small from the Retro Room Games. And, yeah, I don't know if it'll work or not. Oh, snap, look at that! Let's go. So this one actually uses Game Boy Color emulation to run, so that's actually really cool to see. Look at that. Fortunately, the Game Boy Color emulation runs in 480i, so we just need to get that RGB plus blur turned on here. And then let's go ahead and integer scale that. There we go. That's friggin' cool. Glad to see that that actually works. So if you haven't had a chance to try out this puzzle game, it's available on N64, Game Boy Color, and Dreamcast from Retro Room Games, and it's a fantastic puzzle game. That's really cool. Alright, so to close out this very, very long first look / impressions video of the Polymega N64 module, it is working pretty dang well, all things considered. The problem games for performance are still problem games for performance, just because the hardware inside here isn't quite the highest tier these days, but overall, it looks like you're going to be able to enjoy the vast majority of the N64 library without much issue. Everything I've tried has worked so far. I have not found any games that are incompatible. Even Battle for Naboo was running, which was quite shocking. So again, that leads me to believe that pretty much Hey You Pikachu is going to be pretty much the only thing that's off limits at the moment. And then just maybe one or two other random things. Honestly, I can't even think of what it might be off the top of my head. But if you have a Polymega and are picking up the N64 module, it should serve your needs pretty well. I would recommend picking up a different controller though, since the pack-in Retrobit Custom Tribute does have some diagonal range issues, just to get the smoothest experience possible. But, you know, we're going to go ahead and leave it here for this one. Thanks so much for watching this very long-winded video. If you have made it to the end, you are friggin' amazing. So, I mean, guess just the usual favors at the end. Thumbs up, thumbs down, sub button, notification bell, and then if you like this channel, want to help support us, check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Big shout out to all of our current champs. Thank you so much. We'll see you all back next video.